Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. The bold and the beautiful. Thomas returns from Paris. Brooke tries to win Ridge. Taylor Hayes and Ridge Forrester are getting closer with each passing day, which is hurting Brooke a lot. There is no doubt that Brooke will try her best to separate them and get Ridge on her side. However, it's not that easy for her to implement it without triggering Ridge's core. One way is teased in the spoilers that Brooke Logan is supposed to use, so let us explore it more. Brooke Logan may convince Thomas to return from Paris along with Thomas. Ridge considers Hope to be responsible for his son, Thomas, and grandson, Thomas's departure. He is desperately waiting for them to come back to Los Angeles and live with the Forrester family, and Brooke is well aware of it. It will be a huge gesture from Brooke, and Ridge would be so happy and excited by it. It is also a known fact that Brooke doesn't like Thomas and blames him for her daughter's messed up life in terms of relationships. If she makes that gesture of convincing Thomas, Ridge will get a clear message that Brooke made a huge effort for him and the Forrester family. Convincing Thomas can be very rewarding as well as dangerous for Brooke Logan. Thomas knows that Brooke hates him a lot and cannot see him around her daughter, so a nice gesture from her will germinate a doubt in him. He also understands that his father, Ridge, is getting along well with his mother, Taylor, which hurts Brooke. The speculations state that Thomas will contact either Steffi or Taylor to discuss Brooke Logan and her offer to come back to La. A sudden change in her behavior will be an immediate indicator for Taylor and Steffi to identify that she is planning something big. They may identify that she is trying to please Ridge, and if that happens, Brooke will be left with no choice but to forget her wish to get Ridge back. Taylor and Steffi will easily convince Thomas not to get trapped in Brooke's web. The current plots are very unpredictable, especially Brooke's plan and Finn's decision. Finn's decision about letting Luna and Sheila enter his life back might also shake many lives. The same kind of plot is being set up for Brooke, but with a different context. This is it for Not and stay connected with us to get all the latest updates. The bold and the beautiful. Thomas returns from Paris. Brooke tries to win Ridge. The sound of heels clicked sharply against the marble floor of Forrester Creations, echoing like a ticking clock as Paris faded in the rearview mirror. Thomas Forrester was back, older, wiser, and with secrets simmering just beneath his cool, tailored surface. His return had been unannounced, but intentional. The moment he stepped into the main office, he inhaled the familiar scent of fresh fabrics and ambition. It was like he had never left, except everything had changed. Thomas. Steffi's voice rang with disbelief as she stepped into the room, dropping the folder in her hand. "Hey sis," he said, offering a tight-lipped smile. "You didn't call, you didn't text. I wanted to see everything for myself, unfiltered." He was leaner, with a Parisian edge that wrapped around him like a perfectly fitted coat, but his eyes, they still held the storm. Steffi hugged him tightly, then pulled back to search his face. "So, what brings you home?" He glanced toward the window, where the California sun streamed through. "I missed it, the chaos, the dysfunction, and maybe," he paused, "maybe I'm ready to make things right." Meanwhile, across town in her sunlit kitchen, Brooke Logan stared at her coffee cup as if it held all the answers. She had run out of excuses and time. Ridge had moved out months ago, taking his warmth, his silk shirts, and his loyalty with him. He had chosen Taylor. Taylor, again. It was like a loop she couldn't escape, a rerun of Heartache with different lighting. "Not this time," Brooke whispered, standing up suddenly. She walked to the mirror and stared herself down. "You are Brooke Logan. You don't give up, not when it comes to Ridge." With a flip of her hair and a plan already forming, she was out the door. Word of Thomas's return traveled faster than gossip at an LA luncheon. Hope was the last to know, or at least the last to believe it. She caught him in the design room, sketching like he used to, hunched over the table with purpose and passion. "Thomas," she said gently. He looked up, his face softened, just for a moment. "Hope." They stood in silence, the kind that hums with all the things left unsaid. "You look good," she said, stepping closer. "So do you. HFTF still thriving?" "Yes, we kept it alive. Without me." She hesitated, then offered a tentative smile. It wasn't the same. He stood, walked to her. "Neither am I." Hope looked into his eyes, searching for that glint of obsession, the intensity that once consumed them both, but it wasn't there. Not yet, anyway. "I'm here to work," he said, "to build something real, not just in fashion." That evening, Ridge stood alone on the beach behind the cliff house, watching the tide roll in. Taylor was at a conference, a soul-replenishing retreat, as she called it. He hadn't wanted to go, not because he didn't support her, but because his heart had been restless lately, like the ocean pulling at his feet. He heard footsteps behind him. He didn't have to turn to know. "Brooke," he said quietly. "Hey Ridge," she said, voice light, carrying that impossible hope only she could manage. "You always find me, don't you?" "Not always, but I try." He turned to face her. She wore white, always angelic when she wanted something. "I've been doing a lot of thinking," she began. "Brooke." "No, let me finish. I know I made mistakes. I know we both have. But when I picture my future, it's always with you. It always has been." "You said that before." "And I meant it. Every time." He sighed, brushing a hand through his hair. "I'm not the same man, Brooke. I've changed. So have I." They stood in the dimming light, old lovers wrapped in silence. It wasn't a reconciliation, not yet, but it wasn't goodbye either. The next day brought more than just design meetings. Thomas stepped into the CEO office uninvited and found Steffi at the helm. "You want your position back already," she teased. "No," he said seriously. "I want something else. A future here. Not just for me. For Douglas too." Steffi's expression softened. "You really mean that?" "I do." And he did. But Thomas also knew the kind of future he wanted didn't just involve sketchpads and runway lights. He wanted to prove he was more than a redemption arc. He wanted to be trusted. By his family, by Hope, and maybe, someday, by Ridge. Later that week, Brooke invited Ridge to dinner. The house was glowing with candles, soft music playing, her signature ambience, a nod to their past, their endless second chances. "I just want to talk," she said as they sat down. And they did. About everything, their children, the company, their regrets. She listened more than she spoke, and Ridge noticed. It wasn't the usual Brooke Logan show. It was quieter, more real. As the night wore on, the mood shifted. He caught her hand mid-sentence, thumb brushing over her skin. "You still know how to make me feel seen," he said. "And you still make me feel like I'm worth fighting for." Their eyes locked, the air thick with memory and promise. Back at Forrester Creations, Hope stood outside the design room, watching Thomas present a new line with confidence and clarity. He was magnetic, focused, and surprisingly humble. She clutched the sketchpad in her hand, debating. When he finished, he turned to see her. "Hope, what did you think?" "I think," she paused, "I think you're really back." "I am." And in that moment, she saw something in him that scared her, not darkness, but potential. Hope was torn, between loyalty to Liam, the safety of predictability, and the thrill of something unfinished. As April turned to May, the pieces shifted like a chessboard. Ridge stood on the precipice of two great loves. Thomas stood in the gray between redemption and desire. And Brooke, ever bold, ever beautiful, wasn't done fighting. Because in LA, love was never linear. And destiny always had a flair for the dramatic. Want a continuation? I can pick up from here with more twists, like a scandalous secret from Paris or Hope's internal struggle. Just say the word.